Hey guys, this is a game we played, the last game we played with Ray. Tom wasn't in on this. We had Bootaloo playing the healer. So a lot of stuff happens in this game, and there's some themes that'll pop up. So let's get right to it. I'm gonna speed up to the first fight. So we talked about the tussle, right? You gotta go for the level 1 tussle because it's just too fun. When you look at the level 1 tussle, we need to do a better job of, I guess, talking about the win conditions of team fighting, or, what each team is looking to do. So they have two assassins, Genji and Alarak. So they like to dive in and mess us up. Genji has a dash attack that does a bunch of damage. He gets in the back line. He's got a protection shield. You'll see like a white shield that says protect, and it deflects damage around to everyone around him. So when he dives in and deflects, you got to make sure you're not hitting him when deflect is up. It's kind of tough. Alarak is a big problem in this game. It's kind of clear a lot of us don't really know how he works. But basically, he's got a vacuum that pulls you towards him, and then he's got this cone attack that he juts out in front of him that silences and does a bunch of damage. The combination of him pulling people in and then Garrosh throwing them is something that basically all of us fell victim to and got crushed by. A really important thing to know about this character, Kharazim, he's the monk, is that whenever they kick you, whenever they're punching you, they're doing a bunch of healing to people around them. So there's a key moment later on we'll see in like a fight, a little skirmish, where if you allow him to sit there and punch you, he has almost infinite healing. It's pretty crazy healing. So you really kind of have to not just melee him. You've got to CC him and run away from him a little bit. Beyond his ability to kick you and heal, he doesn't really have sustained healing. He's got one burst heal on a long cooldown, so that's something we gotta watch out for. This character, Kel'Thuzad, is a big problem for us. The biggest thing with him, he puts this big flame strike area of effect on the ground, and that's pretty straightforward. Don't stand in the fire field. But the biggest thing he does that we fall victim to is it's called Living Bomb, and you'll see your life bar will go down a little bit, like you've got a dot on you, and there's a fire effect on you, and it does a little bit of damage. It's not that scary, but if you're standing next to somebody, the bomb will spread to them when it blows up, and if they are standing next to somebody, it'll blow up and spread, and it'll spread indefinitely. So when you get the living bomb on you, you've got to learn to recognize it and get away from it. So I'm going to slow this down so we can watch the tussle. We'll see what happens. So there, I would recommend Ray using that ability. You want to kind of walk into the thick of them a little bit more, maybe, before you use that, because you caught their tank, and that was it. So, just thinking about how to best use your abilities. We also need to think about Tim's not quite here yet. Doom Titan's towards the back. He should probably be a little farther forward. So the theme for Ray is that Ray really loves to go in. And mechanically, Ray's actually pretty awesome. I noticed in like the replay that he uses his abilities and has a lot of playmaking potential. But he's a little ahead of us and we're a little behind him, so we need to figure that out. So that's the first thing you'll see, that Garrosh throw, right? So whenever you dive in, expect him to throw you. Now for Ray, if he's gonna throw you, that's actually something you can think about and say, hey, if I go walk up to Garrosh and he throws me in the middle of his team, I've got my unstoppable passive and I've got my W. So if you'd waited on the W and then he threw you in and then you vacuumed all these guys together, we could have had like a really cool fight there. So try to bait Garrosh into throwing you, saving your abilities to then mess people up when you're in the middle of them. Because now you basically just have to burn your unstoppable to walk out, and that's tough. You see this triangle red thing? That's the vacuum thing I was talking about. So I go in here, and I land a pretty big chunk of damage, but obviously I'm going to get CC'd up or whatever. So both tanks here, I don't know, this is tough, right? I'm kind of aggressive and I'll play a little too far forward anyway, and I guess I need to stop doing that, but I also get a lot of kills and damage out doing that. So Doom Titan and Joanna, what I'd like to see for our team is almost one of you become the primary initiator, which I think Ray is really good at, and then maybe Andrew being like the secondary, kind of charging in once people commit to me. And you guys both jump on the Genji here, which is really good. So I think that kind of works out well. So like Andrew punches. And I do have pretty good escape mechanics, so that's fine. So this is an awesome Ray. Really, really good W, I should say. That's great. Totally disrupts them. Now here, Andrew, you got thrown back, which is unfortunate. I mean, you might look at this and say, you know, you got a tough call to make. You could probably just auto attack and kill Juggernaut right there. Or you could maybe, if you still have slide tackle, maybe, you know, you can find an escape. Let's see what you do here. Yeah, so I mean, that was close. You almost got out. You might have been a retreating kill on it. So there's the living bomb. See it spreading to all of us. Close ones. So that was 3 kills for 1. So obviously we're a little behind here. But that's okay. So anyway, that's kind of the characters, what they do, and just how we play it or whatever. So here we send Ray bottom. Ray's character, especially once he hits level 4, has really good wave clear, so that's something we can utilize. I'm going top to deal with this, and then you guys are middle. Yeah, one thing I'd say, Ray, for you, like mechanically, you play really well, and if we can figure out how to get you to communicate better with us, I think we'd do a lot better. So here, this, like, you know, they're committing 4 to middle, and we get free soak bottom. So you can see, even though they got 3 kills to our 1, we're up in levels, and levels are all that matter. Kills give experience, and that's it. There's no gold in this game. So if Ray can soak bottom, just make sure middle that you're being safe and not trying to take fights. So here, Ray, excellent positioning. You cleanly get away from this. So they're going for this, like, roaming death squad kind of a composition. They want to jump in with Alarak, pull you in, have Garrosh throw you behind, stun you, and just take you out real quick. So here's a good example of communication, Ray, where they're mounting up and they're leaving. I think you staying to get soak is the right call, because they've got a wave coming and you want to clear that. So just make sure you let us know to watch out middle. Because they think this is a 2v2, they're looking to maybe trade up on it or something. We spot them out there, which is good, but... So David did a good job of kind of scouting as I played. But then they're like going in for no reason. I mean, that's crazy. You need to be back where Doom Titan is. Because that, yeah, there's no way to get out of that. Because like I said, that roaming death squad, they're just designed to gank you and kill you. So that's a very easily avoidable death. So we need to watch that sort of thing. And then likewise with communication, we need to be telling Ray that they're coming down here. Because he got caught out. Luckily Janet just doesn't care. So that's fun. Now here, Ray, if there's no minions to kill, right, like they're not even there yet, just back off of this, because if we rotate down to fight and you're weak after a little, if they trade some abilities on you, then we're in a lot of trouble. So like that right there, you went in and did your W, but there's no point, and you got silence, yeah, stunned out, yeah, the vacuum, the throw. So now all of a sudden you escape because Joanna's ridiculous. But now if we swing down for a fight here, you're totally useless. So just don't ever use your abilities to poke. Like, you're not a champion that puts any pressure on them by doing that. So then we've noticed they were on this camp, which is a great thing to notice, but you're too weak to be a part of this. So that's why that sort of decision making matters so much. So we need to be careful with that. This, Andrew, I thought was a pretty good fight. I mentioned this before, which is you're standing on here to contest it, which I guess makes sense. It's fine. But this Juggernaut character, the whatchamacallit, here there's a bit of a targeting issue, right? Like, you use your flip on the Garrosh, and we obviously need to be killing the healer here, who's already weak. So So in trying to kill him, if he's sitting here auto-attacking you, he just does like tons and tons of healing. So that was a tough 1v3. A little bit of target issues. Ray not being there was really difficult. So yeah, that's just, you know, and that turns into this creep camp coming right as this thing becomes active, which is something we did as well, but they cleared it out, no problem. So now they've created all this pressure bottom, and this is something we need to do a much better job. This is a theme you'll see in the game. It's like managing the pressure around the map. So like you guys looking for these kills or this fight here, I'd much rather maybe one of you stay to soak and the other one come down to deal with this. Like we know that these mercs are up and we've got to deal with them before this becomes active. Instead, you know, this little kind of trading here, 1v3 isn't, or 2v3 is just not going to do anything. So now they're positioned with 5. We haven't dealt with this yet, right? So Ray's down there, and he probably needs to be. If he comes up to fight, we'll lose towers just to these siege minions. The towers can't even fight back these things. So even if we skirmish here and trade or even win it, we're going to lose towers. So we've got to figure out how to manage the mercs better. I think Ray needed to stay down there, and I think instead of us coming up here as quickly as we did, like before they've even activated it, we've just got to kill these minions. As soon as you kill the siege minions, it's fine. The lanes are never going to push on their own accord. Not really. Just the normal 5 minions that spawn, or 7 minions that spawn. But these guys are terrifying, so we need to take that out together. So then here we need to understand, this is just terrible positioning by me, basically. Because again, this combo, right? They're going to silence, throw, and throw. And I'm way too far forward. Tim's up there. This is not worth doing, in my opinion. Kind of clearing this out or whatever. Unless we wanted to say, hey, like, can we soak these 2 lanes, give this up, and just like go for the experience advantage? Because we do still have an experience advantage. So I don't know, but we just got to be clear that when we're not all together, this sort of poking can't be happening. This is very bad. They actually didn't end up punishing me there, but they could have. Okay, so there's all the punishment. So yeah, this is just a 3v5. There's no win condition here. If I was level 20 and had crazy damage, maybe, but it's just not gonna happen. So if we had been a little more patient, we would have had a talent advantage for the start of that fight. We could have cleared that out beforehand, and we would have been good to go. So that's just some really bad like rotation timing stuff. So that's a theme I want to take home with this is watch the management of siege camps and stuff. If we know that they're there, we've got to go deal with them. We can't just start fighting. So this fight, this is great, right? Ray and Andrew are in there. They've committed some abilities to this. They've lost that kill combo they like so much. These two are split up, right? They didn't get to do it the way they want to do it. But unfortunately, I'm not quite ready. I'm not there yet. So let's see how this goes. So a lot of split damage here. The Dio character, that's their damage dealer. The Genji damage dealer. This guy, basically everybody but Garrosh is a great target. But because Garrosh is the tank and he's far forward, he tends to be our first target. So we gotta be, as soon as these fights start, especially if there's skirmishes and we really get to target whoever we want, you know, we can do it the right way. Now this just sucks. They took the Punisher while we're fighting. You know, just a lot of, we didn't get back in time. The fight started badly. I missed that. Every time I miss my little tentacle, I'm in trouble. So I've got no escapes. I didn't see them coming. And I shouldn't have been there trying to kill that Genji anyway. Ray's the only one in the right place. So here, like, the Punisher, so everyone knows, there's a trick, and I can't really show you because it's too late or whatever. But the way the Punisher works is he spawns wherever the temple is, say here, and as soon as he sees an enemy hero, he leaps onto them about a distance from the shrine here to about here. If you're within that range of him, he leaps to you, stuns you, and starts smacking you. and he always does that as soon as he can. And it's on about, I don't know, a 10-second cooldown or so. So what you need to understand when you're defending these sorts of things is if you're defending in front of the wall and the towers, as the Punisher comes up to about here, he will jump onto you here and start punching you. You will, because that's a lot of pressure, duck behind the wall here, and then the Punisher will turn and start attacking the towers and the wall. So you don't want to do that. What you want to do is stand here. That way when the Punisher gets to about here, he jumps in on you behind the wall. Then you and the towers and everything can really focus on the Punisher, and the enemy team has got to melee down and break down the wall to go support the Punisher, which takes a while. So it's a way you can really kill the Punisher easily, baiting him back behind the wall with that jump ability that the Punisher has. Whereas now the wall is open, so they can come support him. So now you two are in a, you can count this guy as a hero, basically, the way he targets and tries to kill heroes. So you guys are in a 2v4. So here you just want to back all the way off on this. Yeah, the Punisher's jumped. Just back off cooldown, and it just took you out. Tim's going for the solo kill here. I don't know. Again, like, whenever there's an objective like this up, the Punisher, something like that spawns, we really have to manage our lanes and not go for kills, because the experience gained from a kill is just not that real. Whereas them taking out this keep, I mean, I think if Tim had been up there to help out with that, things might have looked a little bit different. So if you're alive and there's a big objective in play, I think you gotta go to it.
Red Team's Punisher has been slain.
So here, there's no big objective on the map. We're kind of managing our waves. I get caught out here, but I think this actually ends up going pretty well. Yeah, so he got too close. Andrew comes and saves me. Oh, I missed a big jump. Yeah, so that's nice. So now we want to look at a situation like this and say we've got 2 kills. And I think that's a good opportunity to do something kind of bold, right? Like maybe go take their creep camp to take it off the table for them for later pressure or something. So we need to think about that. Oops, let me cancel this out real quick. Alright, so anyway, when we take kills, we need to start thinking about objectives, or we could take our camp or something. But what we really shouldn't do is say we've got 2 kills, let's go look for more kills. Because they're going to be backing off. They're going to be scared of that pressure. This guy's going to walk away. Genji is not someone that you can just catch and kill. He's too slippery. So we're clearing out these waves, but we could have done so much more. So as soon as we get kills, we got to go turn them into something. That's something we're not very good at. So we decided to get this, so that's good. We're managing our waves here, managing the lanes, that seems fine. We are slightly ahead of them at this point, even though we're down a keep. So that means we've been doing really well in terms of lane soaking. So that's a good sign for us, I think. So we know we've got a lot of pressure top. But okay, so we need to pay attention to these sorts of mercenary pings and then make some judgment calls, which are, now they've got a lot of pressure top with the minion waves, and they've got this siege presence in this area of the map. So I think we decide to group up middle, and this is just a team fight that goes badly, if I remember. Yeah, so because they stayed to clear out our minion, and theirs is just beginning. The way this minion works, by the way, he's unique to, he's only on 2 different maps, I think, the Diablo maps. But what he does is he stands in the back and shoots long range, and he summons these hellhounds, and he summons them indefinitely. And if a champion doesn't come up to deal with him, he can actually push like all the way through your base unimpeded, because he just keeps making hellhounds every time the tower kills them. So he can actually solo your entire lane if nobody goes to stop him. So this is a really big siege minion where we have to say if he's up we need to go deal with it. A lot of the other minions in the game will eventually get killed by the little lane minions or the towers, but not these ones. These ones have to be stopped by enemy champions. So that's important to remember. So that's just tough. Genji's hard to kill. It was close though. So here, we're looking for hero kills and that sort of thing, but we need to be thinking about the lane management. All of that pressure needed to be killing these goats. All of our abilities and everything here, like I need to be down there attacking the goats. We start to attack the goats, but then we back off. So now, there's a bunch of pressure up top we haven't dealt with. We still haven't managed this pressure. We almost got that Genji kill, but we really shouldn't have even been looking for the Genji kill. We should have been just trying to kill the goats. Once the pressure is managed, once the goats are killed, then, you know, we go get our own goats and create our own momentum or whatever. But we haven't sent anyone to deal with this, and that's something we have to figure out right away. One of the reasons I like having the same comp over and over is we really have a good sense of what our characters can do. Ray's character is really good at dealing with this, so we should have sent Ray all the way up. And Ray's also managing the goats, because we weren't ready for this. I don't think we should have taken the goats until their goats were dead. I mean, I guess the goats would counter the goats or whatever. So. Alright, this is, I have a nice ult there, so that's fortunate. You guys are beating him back there. Oh, this is a sad one. Watch this. Mid-air tentacle. You guys saved it just a little bit too late. So this is a really nice fight for them, even though we go 2 for 1. Because of this, we're losing a lot here. They've actually slid ahead in levels, despite being behind in kills and everything. Actually, they're not behind in kills, but they are behind in soak or whatever. But they're catching up with this sort of crap. Yeah, so you see Ray's good at clearing that out, so we need to make sure he's free to go do that before we look for taking our own creep camps or fighting or anything. We just gotta wipe theirs. So we know the Shrine's active. This game is still really, really close. They don't have a talent advantage yet. So we're grouping for this fight, so this is really good. We also know, looking at the map, see this? We need to acknowledge this sort of thing. There's 2 bits of information we have here. One is they're trying to take these camps and push bottom before the shrine starts, which is a great thing to do anyway, especially an objective like this where you have to not only activate it, but then you've got to kill 40 minions. That's a really good time to take camps. I don't like how we tend to take camps randomly. We tend to just do it when we don't know what else to do. I think we need to wait for things like these goats or whatever and do them as the shrine becomes active as much as possible. I know the flow of the game is more complicated than that you can just choose what you want to do, but yeah. So now that we have this information, there's 2 bottom, anything that we can fight, we should fight here and try to get a kill to give us momentum, which we catch this guy out. Now here, this is really crucial. This is Genji, so you're not going to be able to stop him. He's got all kinds of escapes. But we all back off and Ray goes in. So a bunch of bad stuff happens here. Ray takes a bunch of damage. So David decides to use his ult to heal Ray. So that's just like, you'll see how that snowballs into some badness. So here, we know that they've got 2 bottom and goats pushing. So we know that they've got 1 dead. So we definitely, I think, need to send Ray down to go deal with that. Ray should be mounting up and going to deal with lane pressure. We need to help them see that and acknowledge that. Because the rest of our 4-man fighting squad, we still got a front line, we have the assassin, we have the mage, it still feels good. So they're coming to contest us here, but I think Ray should have gone bottom, like I said, and we're so far ahead in these minions that and Kel'Thuzad just rezzed, so we could have easily cleared that and managed bottom. Instead, we're all still stuck up here. So I decided to leave, which is bad. I can't leave. If I go to wave clear, you guys don't have any damage, so it's going to be basically not a good fight. And so then we do something that's truly noobish, which is we don't do anything with this Punisher. Ray stays to play with the Punisher, but everybody else leaves. But I don't know why. Like I already went to manage everything. I was not the right person to manage it. It should have been Ray, but everybody else just left for no reason. And you'll see what happens, which the Punisher helps you team fight. He's not a siege minion, not really. He focuses on heroes. So Ray sticks with the Punisher. He jumps in, and you know, Ray's trying to kind of back him up. Right here, we could have taken out the tower and then just gone in on this. But we do nothing at all. They just drop him instantly. Andrew's clearing trash mobs. You know, I killed those goats that should have been dead a long time ago. So that is completely, as our first Punisher of the game, we completely wasted it. It was absolutely worthless. We got one tower out of it because the other one was already dead. So that's really, really bad. We need to make sure that we understand how the Punishers work and how to use them. Speed up just a second here. So we take the goats. Here we call for a team fight. Right? We kind of like, we want to defend our goats. We just got them. I called for a team fight. This is where we need to make sure Ray's vocal is, or everyone's vocal. Look at what we've got. I need to, before I say, hey, let's fight, I need to be sure we're all together. I just kind of assumed we were. But Ray had gone back to base, so this is a 5v4. And I'm pretty sure we take it, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't go very well. Okay, so we did back off on that. We didn't take the fight right away. So here we call for the fight. We're all together. Right there, I missed a big ult. I tried... it was funny. I was like, I want to catch the healer and the DPS, and instead I caught nobody. So now, like, Tim's down there. I just missed a big ult. We should have just backed off. Instead, we kind of go for it, and you see we're split up already. So Doom Titan goes in on 3. I follow him. The Alarak splits up our healer and our tank, and Tim's not quite there yet. So we're just, you know, I haven't lost yet, but there they isolate David. Yeah, they taunt us. Tim almost killed the Genji, but yeah, not good. So as soon as I missed that ult, we needed to back off of that and kind of reposition and rethink what was happening. We weren't fighting over any sort of important objective or anything like that. So that's fine. Tim's being cheeky, but I'm pretty sure he goes down here. Yeah. So now, because of the timings, you know, these all of these are up, and they can just put so much pressure all over the map before the next one spawns. One thing you can look at when we're trying to make those decisions to team fight is you can see on every single siege camp there's timers. So we need to work together to read these timers, and someone needs to say like, actually we've got goats in 30 seconds, right? Siege camp in 30, or bruiser camp in a minute. This is not a good fight. So we need to help each other make better decisions, better map awareness. Because now they just have control of everything. Speed it up to the next thing. So here's, you know, you guys went to clear the goats, which I think is important, and I went down to defend the fort, which I think was less important. And we also know that we've got this to deal with. I think we can basically call this a loss, right? We can say, we know they're going to take this. It's too late, right? They've got too much pressure on other points of the map for us to feasibly defend this fort. So instead, maybe, you know, maybe we go take their fort, or we do some kind of a trade, right? And this is something that we don't talk about very much, or we certainly never do. Instead, we tend to stick around and defend things that are probably fucked. But I think we could have traded. We could have swung top and maybe traded fort for fort. We need to think more chess-like and less street brawl, because we always just kind of want to go in and fight. But I think with this kind of momentum, we're distracted by goats, and we've got a big wave top, and there's two objectives up on the map, these two bruiser camps that we could theoretically go for. I think we just give up this fort, because I don't think they can go all the way to the keep. I think we would get back by then, or maybe they would, and it would be a base race and it'd be a bad call. But in general, this sort of a situation, what we tend to do is what we're going to do, which is we kind of run it one at a time. So here I'm trying to poke them and delete the waves, and I basically just had a misplay there. I didn't mean to warp in like that. It's part of the difficult mechanics of Olivia that I just screwed up. So yeah, here you guys are here now. So if I had just waited, I think we could have just defended this and it would have been fine. Tim's doing great damage. This is an amazing fire breath. Ray has an incredible reinitiation. So yeah, if I had just been there, probably would have wiped him pretty easily actually, and been right back in the driver's seat. So going to defend it could have definitely been the right call. But me going in alone was a disaster. So, and like I said, because we took that fight, we've got this push that's just gonna, and it's not even that bad of a push. I guess when you look at lanes and you're analyzing whether or not you need to go, you're losing a lot of experience potentially from that big wave of creeps. Whereas mercenary camps, just so you know, aren't actually worth any experience once they become the opponent's creeps, once they tame them or whatever. So we lost a lot of experience, but yeah, a basic creep wave without a catapult, which catapults only spawn after forts are taken, and then again when a keep is taken. Maybe we can just ignore that. Whereas when the goats are alive still, and they have a catapult in this lane, that was something we had to deal with. So maybe we can just ignore this. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. But that fight, if I had just waited a second, would have gone really, really well, I think. Oh well. Still, 16-16. They're about to be up a level, but that's kind of the way it is. Now this would be an absolutely great time, like the shrine is active, to clear this. We could definitely go take this minion wave before they cleared 40 guys on that thing. So kill the goat, and I think we immediately go and we take that camp. Instead, maybe not. I mean, they definitely started that right away. So maybe we didn't have enough time to do that. But we could have set it up earlier than if I backwarded 30 seconds when it said the shrine is spawning. I bet somebody could have gone and put some damage on this and taken it before this all happened. Alright, so here Ray's behind them, which I think was fine. Yeah, here I just got dove. I'm not sure his healing was on cooldown, he couldn't heal me or whatever. So that's a great example of we took the Kel'Thuzad out, and I'm out. We need to back off on this. This is really tempting because he's so low life, but it's just back off. So Ray's got that's a great mechanical thing. It's nice. Good awareness there. Yeah, so here, you know, they've already got 35 of them. And so even though we kind of won this fight, when he traded even on it, oh, that pushback Tim, that's rough. So yeah, now they got the Punisher. Yeah, we definitely need to just kind of stick around and defend this, I think. Punisher, but so close. Oh, this was a heartbreaking fight here in a second. So Ray goes in, and is just being a boss. They all come in. Ray reinitiates with his ult. I notice this and turn around, and David does a little later. The Punisher will get taken out by these towers. I think trying to take this fight is the right call, honestly. I think that I was strong enough that this was the right call. Genji has to disengage, Ray's out. If I had gotten a kill there with that chomp, we would have been in really good shape. But I don't know. And then they just crawl away. It's very sad. So yeah, as soon as that sort of thing's out, and because of the catapult here, you know, we're losing pressure there. The Punisher, yeah, see, he didn't do much siege damage beyond the keep. That's just not what they're designed to do. And we got the Kel'Thuzad split pushing. So just all three lanes are momentum in their favor. Which means, unfortunately, we have to really kind of clean them up, like we're doing, which means they just get free mercs elsewhere. And I don't think there's any other way we can handle that, because if we go and chase them off their mercs, but we've got lanes pushing, I don't think that helps us. Oh, that's funny, the Genji's right there. Yeah, so see how they just take the goats right out? That's how we need to treat mercs too. Just focus on taking out the mercs. So this is another good example where we're posturing for a fight, but really we have to kind of back off and deal with these goats. We need to make sure we're backing off and really dealing with the mercenary camps. Which it looks like we're doing, that's good. So yeah, we know they're gonna take their camp, it seems kinda obvious. But again, if we had sent someone to clear this out really quickly, instead of all of us grouping up here, Ray is really the one I want to keep sending to those. See, this is awful. He's got no wave clear. This is a disaster that he went down, that David went down here. This is just really, really bad. Not only that, but we weren't quite aware of it. Tim tried to get a gank. They've now got the minions. We didn't get our minion to like counter it or whatever. David killed the siege minions, but he still wasn't really able to clear the lane or get any experience. And then we're starting too early here. We've got Tim went back, David's back here. So you got to make sure you're saving these abilities for when we're all ready. Not only that, but they hit level 20 and we're 18, so they have their storm talents, their final talents, and we don't. So we need to be extremely picky about what kind of fights we want to take. And this early setup is, I mean, I guess you're Joanna, so you can kind of do it, but that was, did y'all see that? That was garbage. I'm rewinding. I hope this doesn't, alright, hold on. Speed up just a second. Alright, watch my character here. This cone attack from Garrosh supposedly hits me. Here, it's coming up right here. And it does not hit me. And it results in me dying. So here is where Ray being forward and aggressive, for some reason, I don't know, it makes me want to poke, which is a mistake. So you went in a little too early, Ray, and I shouldn't have really followed up on this. Like, why did I ult there? It's ridiculous. Such a bad call. So anyway, that was that cone I was talking about he hit me with, which was BS. He sends me in. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, why I decided to ult and try to turn that into a fight is beyond me. And I mean, it's not Ray's fault, but that sort of initiation with tank always makes me think like we're going in. Especially when it's an ult, when it's an ability like Ray's that groups them up. It makes me be like, ooh, here we go. So all of that was just a disaster in terms of setup. Could have controlled that much better. Pretty much they've got too much pressure here all over the map. We can't really challenge this Punisher, and so they take it. That's it. And at that point, we do have our storm talents, so we have like one more chance at a fight. But I'm pretty sure we just kind of get stomped here. Tim barely loses that duel. Tim almost beat him. I like that fire breath. And then this guy's charging up. Gets that kill. So Tim had killed him. That was honestly a pretty good last stand. Because if the Punisher hadn't been there stunning us and putting down all that damage, we would have been in better shape. Not only that, but it's an arcane Punisher, the one that puts down the crystals that spin and do AoE damage, which is the most difficult Punisher to deal with. It does the most damage to heroes. So, unfortunate last fight. So a lot of little things that we did wrong. The big ones are controlling the minions when they spawn, having somebody go take care of them, understanding that we're in a 4v5 when that's happening, and not being over aggressive when that has to happen, but actually doing it, going, taking the lanes back. Just kill the specials, just kill the siege ones and the bruiser minions, and then you can get back to the action if that's the way it's going. Like if there's a Punisher objective that's coming up. So for example, if they've got a bruiser camp in lane, kill the shaman, the sorcerer that summons all the new ones, and then leave, because that's all you have to do. That's like the win condition. If they've got the siege minions, the goats, kill the goats and then get back to the action. If we do that and we start managing the mercenaries better, then I think we'll be in good shape. The team fighting this was honestly pretty good, or solid or decent or whatever. We were winning most of the game in terms of experience, but we were losing all the objectives because of the mercenary map pressure and all that. A couple instances of diving in too much, getting a kill, then backing off to get something out of it is a big thing we need to work on. And I think that's all I gotta say about this match. GG's.